Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Montcast. This week's episode is brought to you by my personal Extra Life campaign, shameless self-promotion. I just raised my goal to $500 US for the year, and I have no idea how the heck I'm going to get that high, but I'm going to try. There's a link in the episode description if you would like to support my Extra Life campaign this year. Alright, so we have what's popular. Personally, I played a little bit of everything this week, but what most people are playing is pretty much the status quo. Sea of Thieves isn't quite as popular as the hype would lead you to believe. However, it's still pretty darn popular. And more on that later in the episode. Lethal League is a 2D fighter. It's not new, but its play is up 600% compared to where it normally is, and no idea why. But lots of people are playing Lethal League for some reason. StarCraft is still riding a bit of a high from its 20th anniversary celebration, and that's about it. Your new game this week is Sea of Thieves. It is the biggest, as in making the most impact on the gaming community, new game this week. There's not a lot of game-generated content, it's more player-generated content. But if you want to get together with some of your friends and just go do shit for the sake of doing shit, then that game is for you. On to video game news. There's a lot to get through. This episode might run a little bit longer than average, but that's why I have no spotlight. Twitch, Blizzard, and Riot are teaming up to combat toxic gaming, so that's a good thing. It's not just them. There are other games involved. Other gaming companies like Epic Games are involved in this initiative, and if you want to read more about what they are planning on doing about it, there's an article on the Twitch Club Twitter you can go back and find. I did play Bridget a little bit, but personally I don't tend to play many supports, and Bridget is a support. So that's why I didn't really take too much of a liking to that hero, but she is a great support, and I can say that I have had my butt kicked by more than one Bridget in Overwatch on Bridget's on the other team. So she has her place and she can hold her own in a fight, so she's not just, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but she has her place, and she's a good hero for those who play support heroes. Shadow of the Tomb Raider gets a release date. That's April 27th, so if you're interested in that, mark your calendar. One of my favorite games of all time, Elite Dangerous, paid tribute to Stephen Hawking. So it was a pretty quick event that happened a day or two after the news broke that he had passed away, and this event has already taken place. But they did a pretty cool 19-stop tour of the galaxy in tribute for him. So, in case StarCraft turning 20 doesn't have you feeling old, there are a lot of other games turning 20 this year. And I'm not going to read the full list. There is a full list if you want to check out the Twitch Club Twitter. But Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, Gran Turismo, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Mega Man Legends, Spyro the Dragon, Pokemon Red and Blue, Fallout 2, Metal Gear Solid, Crash Bandicoot Warped, Half-Life, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Star Wars Rogue Squadron all turned 20 this year. So just in case you weren't feeling old yet, there you go. Sorry, not sorry. New games coming out this week include lots of boats. Yes, there's a lot more than just Sea-of-Thieves. And there's more baseball. As the baseball season rolls in, there's a couple baseball games coming out. So you've got that to look forward. If you want the full list of games coming out this week, again, there is an article on the Twitch Club Twitter. Seeing how there's a theme here? Oh, and by the way, you can access that Twitch Club Twitter anytime. All the tweets are on twitchclub.com/Montcast, as well as they're right next to the Montcast Twitter, so you can get all your esports news there in the same place. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR is now out, so if you have a VR setup, which I don't, but if you do, that game probably looks epic in VR, and I'm jealous. The community seems to want an Overwatch Battle Royale. Well, I'm here to say that I literally want anything else that's not a Battle Royale, because we have way too many of those games, and yeah. Paragon's content was released, kind of your consolation prize for not getting the game. For those of you who don't know, it was basically scrapped in favor of Fortnite when Fortnite took off, and it's not gonna get a release date now, but the content that was created, it is out there for the people who want it. So, I don't have a segment for this, but maybe I do need one. I'm just tagging it on to the end of video game news. Stream related stuff. Drake played Fortnite with Ninja, the popular Twitch partner, and surprise, surprise, another Twitch record was broken with more than 600,000 viewers. And oh, by the way, of course they won. Stream On. So for those of you who don't know, Twitch has a Stream On competition that pits 14 streamers against one another, and they are competing, and at the end of it all, the winner will get $60,000 over the course of 1 year to essentially be a full-time streamer. And it has been such a roller coaster of emotions following this competition, because all 14 of these people are absolutely amazing streamers, and it sucks when any of them get eliminated, regardless of which community you're a part of and which community you want to support. They are all amazing, and man, watching this competition is entertaining, I'll give them that. But streamon.twitch.tv, you can follow all 14 of them, even the ones that have been eliminated from the competition, of which there are 4. There's 10 left now. So I highly recommend you following all 14 of those amazing streamers. Your Twitch viewing life will be better for it. Trust me, they're all really great people. Your indie game this week is a new baseball one. It's called Out of the Park Baseball 19. It's of the sports strategy franchise type of game, and it's officially licensed by Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association. And it has more hype around it than I've seen any other traditional sports video game. So if that seems like it's kind of up your alley, that's probably a really good one to pick up. And in esports this week, it's a bit of a busy time for some of the major esports leagues. So let's get right down to it. LCS, that's the League Championship Series for League of Legends. In North America, at the end of their spring split, 6 teams make the playoffs, but they had some late games. That last day of the season, it took some time to sort it all out. 2 teams tied for first, so they needed to play for the first and second seed. And then 4 separate teams tied for third place. So they all needed to play out and figure out who was the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th seeds in the playoffs. Because it all matters in who plays who and in what round who gets the bye and all that good stuff. So they had, I think, 5 extra games tagged onto the end of the last day of the North America spring split. So if you were up for that, I am impressed. I found when I watched up to the end of the regular games and saw that they had 5 more tiebreaker matches, and I went to bed, to be honest. Woke up and saw where everybody shook out in the morning. Europe. G2 and Splice had to play a tiebreaker for second, which is an important one because the winner got bye in the European Spring Split playoffs to the semifinals. And by the way, North America and Europe are both doing their spring playoffs this weekend. So if you want to catch any of the Spring Split playoffs, that's this weekend. It does have implications for who makes the World Championships, but not nearly as big as the summer playoffs later in the year, obviously. LCK, which is Korea League of Legends, their spring split goes for 1 more week, and then their playoffs will happen. And LPL, which is China, they've got a couple more weeks. Their spring split doesn't end until April 8th. So that's League of Legends. Overwatch League Stage 2 is, I believe, wrapping up tonight or tomorrow. It's really close. Within the next couple days, Overwatch League Stage 2 is going to be over. And I believe on Sunday, now I believe they learned their lesson in Stage 1. On Sunday, they're going to have the Stage 2 playoffs. And then we'll have some downtime, I think a week and a bit of downtime before we start up with Stage 3. If you are a big esports fan and have your favorite esports star, ESPN is doing their own, ESPN Esports I should say, is doing their own bracket challenge that's not quite running parallel to the March Madness bracket, but they're doing their own same kind of thing, only to determine the winner of each match. Each of the matches is posted as a Twitter poll on the ESPN Esports Twitter. So there's you can check that out and vote for your favorites on an ongoing basis until the tournament's over. I believe right now today they are doing the last matches in the round of 64. And then every day they do a new segment of the bracket. I believe it's every day at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They close the previous polls and open the new ones. There's a really great article on the house that's changing StarCraft esports. Even Blizzard has been pushing this one. And I'm a big fan because I'm a big fan of Scarlet, who basically runs the house. And she's Canadian, and she's really, really good at StarCraft. Arguably, she's starting to be in the conversation for best StarCraft pro of all time. So, that's a pretty great article. I know I posted it on the Twitch Club Twitter, and I'll even do you one better and include a link in the episode description for you if you want to check that out. That is a great article, but if you don't care about Scarlet or you don't care about StarCraft Esports, you probably won't find it as awesome as I do. Rocket League Season 5, RLCS, is starting. It's hard to believe that Rocket League is already in Season 5, but it's just started. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to report on because, the whole "it just started" thing, but I guess more on that to come. The International, which is the Dota 2 World Championship, is in Vancouver this year. They've moved it from Seattle, and this it's in Vancouver. It's in August, and I'll cover this tournament more in depth as it gets closer. We're leading up to it, figuring out who's going to play, and of course covering the tournament itself because there's stupid amounts of money on the line. I believe last year's prize pool topped $20 million US. So yeah, that was a heck of a thing, and it's bound to be bigger this year. So of course, you can't throw around that much money in esports without me noticing. And last but not least, some smaller news. In CSGO, SK Gaming has been struggling. Taco, one of their players, has stepped down. Rumors are that they're looking at some other players, including Simple, which would be a massive asset to any team. But you kind of, personally, my opinion here, when it comes to a player like Simple, you got to revolve your whole team around him. And I don't know whether he would help or hurt SK Gaming, despite their elite reputation. I guess time will tell if they do indeed sign Simple or other players to see whether their results improve. And that's close to it. I guess this episode wasn't as long as I thought it would be. With no more listener questions, I would really like to stress that I would love your feedback. Anything I'm doing well, anything that I'm not doing well, anything that I'm not covering that you want me to cover, please let me know in any way. You can let me know on Twitter. You can write a review on iTunes or wherever you get this podcast. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to leave you with subscribe so you never miss an episode, of course. And thank you once again to the wonderful Approaching Nirvana for this amazing background music I keep using. I really enjoy listening to Approaching Nirvana music.